Hello, we're back with the Alexis and Brooke show, as you know, and we are hopping into Ask Mother Fox. I'm Mother Fox, and this is my beautiful, wonderful, best co-host and bestie in the world, Brook Urick. She is an author. She is a speaker. She's on the speaking route, you guys, and you might get lucky enough to like see her speaking somewhere. And there's the book. It will be linked below so that you can purchase it, download the audio because it's so good. And it will just please me, and you should want to be in my favor. At least I think so. So yeah.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. This is Mother Alexis Fox, the womb goddess who has 4 children under the age of 4, if you can believe it. Do the math, don't do the math, I don't care. But she has some amazing advice for new mothers, for prospective mothers. I myself am a prospective mother, still trying to decide if I would like to host any children in my womb. So yeah, we have some really deep, interesting questions. And of course, if you guys have questions, please leave them below, because she has the best advice. It is not 1 times the advice, it is 4 times the advice. So I think like the Lord made you so much more in tune with like all the details and all of this. Cause like, I mean, you're naturally like kind of a project manager, but now you get to apply that knowledge to the 4 little projects of your children.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm just always thrilled to talk to you about these mother
And
questions.
I love to talk about it. And yeah, I know you're still on your journey to knowing if you want to or not, which I think is a personal thing for everybody, but you would be such a good mom. So I'll say that.
Thank you.
And
I
yeah,
already have you to lean on, so
true.
that's
Yeah, so you would like be the best because you wouldn't even have to make the mistakes I've made with my little science experiments, as I like to call them.
oh my gosh, I would be like, excuse me, Athena, can you tell me, did your mother damage you in any ways with her this?
She'll be like, yes, yes, she did.
Oh, well, I just always I think the things you think about when it comes to the kids, like they're so like you're setting them up because you know how important these formative years are,
Yeah.
and you're like setting them up for a life of like being an amazing person, not just like setting them up for like, what's right now or whatever. So anyway,
Trying
I'm
to.
loving it.
It's a big responsibility. Like it is. I didn't even really realize what a responsibility would really feel like once it came down to it. It's huge. It's an honor, but it's a big responsibility.
Well, with that, should we hop into my first question?
Please.
Okay, so this one is in line with like some of the worried people on TikTok and stuff. They're all scared of this or that. So, what were you initially really worried about? I want to say before you had the girls, the first set of twins, that you found out is just not a big deal.
What was I worried about? That is just not a big deal. I think one of the things that I was really worried about was that I just simply wouldn't know how to be a mom, right? And so there is no handbook. And of course, like I'm still learning every single day, but it just comes in and then you're just like, I'm a mom, you know? And so I was worried about that. I was like, what if like I don't I don't want to say what if I don't love them because like I knew, they're babies. Of course I'll love them, but like what if I don't get that feeling for them where they're just like everything and I want the best for them and I want to sacrifice myself for them, and I worried that like maybe that wouldn't happen to me for some reason. But that was something I absolutely didn't have to worry about because it definitely happens. But what I will say is a lot of people will say, whether it's true or not, like, oh, it was a moment of true love. I never knew a love like this the moment I laid eyes on you. And that simply did not happen to me. It is not that I was not head over heels for these beautiful babies. It was not that I was not like, oh, I love you and I want to take care of you because you're babies. But they were babies. They could have been anybody's, really, more or less. And so, and I mean, I'm just a baby lover. So, like, of course I loved them, but that feeling grew over like the first, like, little bit of time. And it didn't take long, but I remember telling my mom one day, I was like, is it like weird that I don't feel whatever way that how I was describing it? And she's like, no, it's normal. She's like, you got to get to know them. She's like, you don't even know those babies. And I was like, you're right. I don't even know these babies. And then, a week in, and then you're like, oh my God, I could never imagine life without him. Like, it happens fast, but it wasn't instant for me. Like, it wasn't, and of course I had like a traumatic like experience,
I
get,
was just thinking that.
delivering them and all of that stuff. And I was really ill and I was on medication. So maybe that had something to do with it. And maybe some people do experience it differently. But for me and many other women I've discussed this with will say the same. It's like, it's not something that people publicly talk about, but it exists. It happens.
That is interesting because you do hear people are like, "Oh, I was just so in love in the very moment," but they didn't go through what you went through. Like you were like bedridden. And yeah, on all the medications and just like going through a lot of other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like, you weren't necessarily like right when you saw them. That was a different moment for you. Like your body was feeling a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But then, of course, once they smiled for the first time,
Yeah, it's like
I'm
once you like
sure.
kind of get into the group, you're like, oh, and like you get to know them, and then you see, like you feel like, oh, they're a part of me, and all of that. It changes, but it wasn't like, this like instant life changing moment, right? It
Right.
was like a series of moments that like
Yeah.
collected into like that initial attachment phase or whatever.
Do you remember the first time the girls laughed?
Yeah, like I remember because I want to say Athena laughed first, and I was like, John, John, like they're laughing. She's laughing, And I thought it was like the cutest, like funniest thing. And like the first couple times they do it, it's kind of like involuntary in a way. Like you don't really know like what made it happen. So then you're trying to keep making them do it. And like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So then it's like this battle of like who can get them to like smile and laugh. And so yeah, no, like those sounds are just like things you just like cannot not remember, And then you want to like bottle it up.
Aw, that's so sweet. Um, and now they won't shut up. They're just always laughing and
Yeah.
always
Well, yeah,
laughing and
yeah,
playing with each
exactly.
other. I hear it in the background all the time. But I love when you pause and you're like, wait, who is it and why are they screaming?
Yeah, I'm like, do I need to go intervene or is everybody fine? Because it's like, you have your nanny here and like you also don't want to be like a hovercraft. Like I don't want anybody hovering over me at my job. So it's like that balance of like, do I need to go? Like, is this a mommy thing or like is it fine? I mean, and they love her so much that like it really doesn't matter. But I'm like, do I need to assess injuries or,
Yeah.
or like is it just like a tantrum? So
Yeah, I mean, they're so lucky to have you there most of the time, but not necessarily watching them. It's like they
yeah.
know that you're on standby in
Yeah.
case there is an emergency. Like, I think that's just going to build like such secure attachment, and they're just all going to
Mhm.
be little treasures.
We'll see.
Well, speaking of that, my next question is, and this might be unique to you because you have so many of them,
Hmm.
but like, how do you make everyone feel special individually? Because I know there was a TikTok you did recently of like you were putting Chunk a Man down, and baby Alexis fell asleep before you got to give her a little cuddle, and you were like, am I missing the moments? And of course,
Yeah.
like what I said to you, I texted you and said,
Hmm.
you have given them something that they'll love you for forever, which is siblings.
Yeah.
Siblings so close in age, and like all the love you give to one, that's going to come back around and go to the other ones. So it's all the same love. Love doesn't divide, it multiplies, as they say.
As they say.
So yeah, that's the question: is how do you give everyone special love, or how are you going to manage that over time as they get
Yeah, I
older?
mean, I think, the biggest thing that I think that we do is we are very mindful of everybody's preferences. And so, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but it's like we have four in the morning, I have to make 4 cups of milk. Okay. T- Two of them get a kind of milk, two of them get a different kind of milk. Athena only likes cold milk now. Alexandra's milk needs to be at a certain, like, they all have specifications, right? And I could very easily just make it all the same and be like, just you get what you get, you don't throw a fit. Alexandra wants a blue cup. Athena wants a purple cup. A baby Lexus likes a straw cup. Chunk of Man likes this other, like, whatever. But I try to like be mindful of all of those things and try, to like highlight their differences as much as I can, but while also realizing that they're twins and twins have a special bond of wanting togetherness, but it's the outside world who aren't twins that make us want to say to them like they want to be treated as individuals when like a lot of even grown twins that I know are just like, we have a special bond. It was always like that. It's still like that if we're together. Like we're known as twins. Like we are halves of each other in various ways, you know? And I've been consulting with adult twins because I like don't want to make, you know, the wrong choices. But also there are moments where I can, you know, steal individual time. Like yesterday, everybody was napping except Alexandra. And so it could be very easy to just use that time to just like chill and like let her chill next to me. But instead, I'm like, let me engage and play with her, even if it's only going to last 10 or 15 minutes because someone else might wake up. Like, let me do whatever she wants right now or give her a special cuddle or whatever and just rotate that time. Or sometimes I'm going downstairs for something I'm like, John, you keep everybody. And then if one of them wants to come with me, I'm like, okay, come with me. Like, let's go do this and make, you know, highlight those times, even though they're brief. I mean, they don't need a lot of it because the reality is, no matter what I want to project on them, they want to be together. They want to play together. They want to be next to each other, all of them. You know what I mean? And so it's not like they really want to be with me by themselves so bad, but I want to make sure that they have the space to enjoy those times as they need. And growing up, that may become more of a need. There may be some that stick out of wanting more one-to-one time than others, or maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. And I'll navigate that as we see fit. But one thing that we do have like kind of carved out for the future for birthdays is that although we will likely have like one big birthday party for a long time because they are 2 years apart and 2 days apart, we plan as they get older and start showing the need for like a lot of individual tastes or whatever once a quarter for them to have like a birthday. So even though it's not their actual birthday, it'll be like Chunk of Man's birthday, you know, in Q1, let's say, and then he gets a special day where we just do an activity that he wants. Like if he has like a special friend or something, he wants to come along, like do something, you know, we can have a cake, you know, whatever. And then let each of them have that once a quarter so that they all can have their own while still understanding that like it's Christmas and everybody's birthday's in the same month and that's just what it is. And like some of it, it's not always going to be like this super individual thing, you know, and it just can't be. But I do a lot of research about like twins and the best ways to go about some of these things. But then I think about it, like in most, like if you have siblings who are close in age to you, like you weren't getting all the one-on-one time with your parents in the world. And as long as you still grew up and felt like, you know, your parents loved you and made time for you as they could, I think that we all like kind of realize that that's just what it has to be.
That's interesting that they like, well, I mean, the babies are probably a little bit too little, but the girls, like, they want to be together, you know, like they like being together. And it's
All of
like, I
them,
mean, they're
even like if the
freaking
girls go in their room and close the door, like because they like to do this dance party, they have a baby rave. They turn on their projector and put the blackout shades on and turn on their
bottle
music.
service.
The babies go in there with them, especially Chunk of Man. Like he'll be at the door, like, and then they'll let him in, and then they'll say, "Can baby Lexus come? Can baby Lexus come?" And sometimes she doesn't want to. Like she's a little bit independent, but he'll want to be with them. And then the three of them are in there screaming and dancing, and she's with me. You know what I mean? So they kind of express what they want. And most of the time, yes, it's each other. And then like I'm just kind of like there to provide snacks.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. Well, I was thinking of like when the girls turn like 7 or something like that. It's like I bet they'll want a birthday party together. Like they'll probably have the same friends. They'll probably have the same best friend, or you know what I mean. They'll probably just have that because that's how I remember twins. Like when I was growing up, like they
Yeah.
would just always they would want to have their birthdays together or want to dress the same or whatever. It
Yeah.
was like it's like part of their identity, but like in a good way. Like it's like I never when I was little, like I never saw twins and I was like, oh man, they don't get individuality. Like
Yeah.
no, I thought
I was
like
like,
dang, it would
whoa, I
be
want a twin who's like with me all the time.
like lucky they get to like have a friend like anyway, just like was
Yeah.
never that was never, you know, an issue.
Yeah.
But I love the I mean, I love that you're even thinking about like having individual days for them that are not in the later half of December because Lord knows how busy it's going to be for you guys, and then everyone's freaking birthday is like 2 days apart or whatever. But then having a day another time of the year when it's like this is
This is your
Athena's
day.
day,
Hmm.
yeah, like where we're all going to do her thing, she's going to bring her friends, you know.
Yep.
So I think that's such a good idea having it another time of the year. And then that's also just like fun too.
It's just fun, something to look forward to. Like my family we love fanfare. We love to celebrate for celebration's sake. So, you know, it'll also just like shake things up, keep us like having a good time and celebrating.
And like keeping it to a different time of the year when there's like different weather and stuff like that. Like you can do
Exactly.
a lake activity or like whatever, because it's like
Yes,
during
pool
December,
party
there's
and
a
all the
very
things.
limited amount of activities that you could be doing. But
Mhm.
also, it's like they're going to want to have a big birthday for everyone all together around
Mhm.
the time of Christmas. But then,
Yeah.
be like, well, I like to celebrate my birthday in June because that's when you can go at the pool or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
I just love that idea.
Exactly. Exactly. So I feel like there's just a lot, there's just a lot to it. And again, like you said, you weren't thinking that like, oh man, it must be sad to have a twin who got to do this. And like with the dressing alike thing, it's like I will let them choose their pajamas. Like, right, I'll be like, go choose what you want to wear. 9 times out of 10, they'll wear the same. And if they can't find the same one, it's a problem. Or I'll say, do you want to wear this outfit or this outfit? And I will let them choose. Most of the time, they want to be like each other. So it's like at this point, yes, I like to dress them alike. But if they were fighting it, I would allow, as long as it's clothes I chose, I will allow them to choose different, but they don't want to. And that's okay. And maybe one day they will, maybe they won't, but it's for them to decide, not for us who don't know what it's like to have a twin to say we should be separating them and we should be doing this and that. Because what does being separate get you in life? Loneliness, like.
No, exactly. Well, I think I remember knowing a pair of twins when I was growing up, and they would always dress alike.
Hmm.
And I remember one time I said something to them about it. I was like, "Oh, well, like, doesn't your mom dress you? Because like you always dress alike." And they're like, "No, we dress ourselves like
Yeah.
this. Like, duh." And
Duh.
I'm like, "Oh, like of course you do, because it like it makes you stand out more." So
Yeah.
it's like the attention from individuality, you get that because you're a pair, and
Hmm.
like in a more interesting and unique way even.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's kind of like counterintuitive that way.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
okay, we have time for one
One
more.
more.
So I know that like sometimes everyone gets sick at the same time, including you and John, bunch of
Hmm.
sniffleupaguses over there. Um, so how do you manage that? How do you choose a pediatrician? Like, what's the tea?
Okay, so pediatrician wise, what I did, because they like want you to select one before you give birth. Um, so because when you're at the hospital, like you may have a pediatrician who does hospital calls. At least this is Vegas, like it's different everywhere. But so depending on who you choose, your pediatrician will be the one to come like see your baby in the hospital. For us, that wasn't the case because we chose like a pretty small practice, so they don't do the hospital calls. So we just had like whoever was on call. That's neither here nor there. But what I did was I asked my OB doctor, because I knew that she had kids. I asked her, and then I asked, like, I saw some of the other doctors in the practice and nurses, and I asked all of them who they would recommend or who they used. And like one particular practice kept coming up. And so I chose them, and they are amazing. I'm obsessed with them. I love them so much. And then, like, anytime we were like anywhere in the medical field, like any medical appointment or something, half the time the people there are like, oh yeah, we go to them. My kids go to them. So I'm like, if you're choosing the doctor that your doctor takes their kids to, like you're probably like picking a good place.
Your
Um,
favorite doctor's favorite
your
doctor?
favorite doctor, favorite doctor. So word of mouth, recommendations from people that you know and trust, I think would be a good route to go. And then I would also say that if you go for your first few appointments and you're not feeling the vibe, switch it up. You don't have to stay there because you're going to be seeing them a lot the first couple of years. Like even if your child was never ill, you just have a lot of appointments you have to do. And if you're not happy with like the level of care that you're getting or like the relationship that's building, then you should just switch it up because it's just going to be more stress that you don't need. And then as far as everybody being sick, it's terrible. And then having to take sick kids to the pediatrician or to urgent care, wherever, is terrible. Because especially if you're also sick and dragging everybody out the door and blah, blah, blah. So another thing that I did learn from my pediatrician was that there are in Vegas and in other places, because I know friends in other states who use them, mobile urgent cares. And so here we actually have one or two that specifically specialize in pediatrics, but then we also have a few that will see babies and kids and then also see adults. So there have been times where we've had someone come and see the whole family and we're just at home, so they can do all the testing for all the like typical culprits of all the sickies. They've got all their equipment. They just come on in, check you all out, give you your prescriptions if you need them, any like aftercare instructions, upload it all. So then your doctor's office gets access to the records. Like it's so amazing. And so instead of calling, trying to get a sick visit, which is usually a squeeze in visit, then you got to sit there and risk exposing, because like at our pediatrician, there's a sick side and a well side. And if you're sick, you got to go sit on the sick side with all the other sickies waiting to be seen. And I usually wait in the hallway, pro tip, because I'm like,
Right.
I don't know what my kid has, but I don't know what yours has. And I don't, and then you can just
Right.
be at home until the care comes to you. And it's amazing. So, I mean, really, it's rare that I'll even bother trying to do a sick visit at the pediatrician because I'm like, I can just stay home and wait till someone comes to me. And obviously there are certain ailments that you do need to like literally go to the ER for and things like that. So like this is not medical advice. This is just a tool to potentially use and look into if you have mobile urgent care that's available for pediatrics in your area or even yourself. You should check into it because like they just bill your insurance like a regular trip to urgent care or whatever. And it is fabulous. Truly, it is. It makes things so much easier, so much more convenient. And now the girls are to the point where they're like, if they don't feel good, they're like, "Mom, can you tell the doctor to come to our house?" I'm like, "Girl, get it together."
That's funny, but that like makes so much sense because it's like you got to get the whole kit and caboodle. You got to pull out the whole four-person wagon to
Mhm.
get all your kids. It's like, well, it just makes more freaking sense to have the
Yep.
doctor come to you.
Yep. And it's so convenient. And even like the last time John was sick, I was like, "Do you want me to get the mobile people out here? Like, you don't even have to go anywhere if you don't want to. He doesn't have to disrupt his work day. They give you a window of when they're going to come, and then they come and check you out and leave, and you can just be home." So it's like good for anyone, but specifically, no one wants to drag sick kids around. So it just helps like really alleviate some of that stress.
That is great advice once again from Mother Fox. And
Motherfucker.
that is our time. So, if
Right on
anyone
time.
has questions, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and find Alexis and more of her mommy content on her socials.
We love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Look for Brooke's book and her TikTok and all the things because she's like giving so much good information and just like food for thought and like really relevant, like timely things that especially women, we need to be educated about and we need to help save the young women in the world because like that's what we're doing. We are saving the young women one way or another. And so yes, look for her. All in the description box. Thank you for joining us and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
No.